What is going on, everyone? Chris with Journos Comics and Pop Culture. I'm going to do probably a decently quick video today here. I just watched a video release yesterday by a good friend of the channel, my favorite YouTuber, your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber, Ony Oz, my guy, talking about the new Marvel's Rivals video game and what it means for speculation on comics. Now, I'm not going to go too much into his video. I am going to leave the link to his video below because I want you guys to go watch that. And if you have to pause this video, watch his video, and then come back here and hear what I have to say, that probably would work best. But if you paused, here we go. Let's go into it. Marvel's Rivals. Now, my son, it just came out like a couple days ago. I think my son just purchased it. He's in the other room, literally playing it right now. He's so excited. My son is 17 years old, and it is like an Overwatch or like a Destiny, if you guys are familiar with those like first shooter games. And it's Marvel. So basically, just to sum it up, Swaggle goes in to show how there's these characters that are in the game and there's first appearances being sold on eBay right now, and they're going for this decent amount of money. And he's saying, oh, and one thing that I think is really important that I will show, and I'm not going to show any of the Swag's video because I want you guys to really go watch his video. But he did mention how there is a link to when you go onto the character cards on the video game, it shows what their first appearance is, and there's a link that you can click to purchase these comic books. And Swag talks about how this is really an amazing thing that they're implementing. Could this be something that really gets this next generation where there's such this disconnect to comic books into comic books, right? Because there are so many factors, and he talks about it. Like if you look at all these variant covers that are being released right now of homage variants, and so much of the nostalgia is what these big companies, the big publishers are doing right now to keep the market of the floppy comic alive, to bring the, millennials and Gen X and all the older heads into the floppy market still. So what I really wanted to do was show you guys my comment, because I think it's very, very important to me and where I see comic books are heading, even with this idea of video games trying to insert things that could get the young generation, whether it's, young kids, teenagers, or even young adults, into the floppy comic or just reading comics in general. Here is my comment. Love your optimism. Oh, I need to edit it. Love your optimism, but I will not hold the same optimism as you. Here's why. First off, I do think it's an amazing job that they are implementing the info and link to these characters' first appearances in this game. What a great idea to pull people into comics. But the reality of these sales is that it isn't the children or the young adults that are buying these books off of eBay right now. Honestly, they being the video game creators, they would probably have a better click-through rate from these gamers if that link went to a digital copy of the comic. Here's why. Because the fact is very simple. Floppy comics are not being consumed for A, reading purposes, and B, the younger generations do not collect physical items. They would rather collect skins of all of these characters on this video game, if you guys know what that means. They would rather drop $100 not on some silly spec comic, but on new skins or the new battle pass or the new season of Marvel Rivals, rather than some dusty floppy stack of stapled together magazine papers. So for those that haven't played video games in a decade or two, skins or the new battle pass or the new season, these are all things, video games are all online right now, and the way that they get their money, that residual money coming in, is they have new seasons where they implement new characters, or they have new skins for characters, which means like you could change their outfit, or they have different artillery or weapon catalog and so forth. It's like upgrades and stuff like that, right? A new battle pass and a new season. It's like all of that is how they keep. I mean, Fortnite, Overwatch, Marvel Rivals, all these games have all these elements. And my kids do it themselves. I mean, they're dropping 30, 40, $50 for new skins, new seasons, like every month. It's crazy. So they're not going to sit and click on these links to read a comic book. They're sitting in front of a video game. And again, I'm not saying that kids don't read. They do. They just don't consume floppy comics. And they're also not going to spend money on some comic trying to collect something, because they don't. They would rather collect these virtual, non-physical things that relate to what is important to them. And what's important to them? The video game. Let me continue on. The people buying these books are people that don't play video games and that are solely in it to either flip for a profit, or it's those few collectors that still haven't learned the ins and outs and hard truths of FOMOing over comic books. This is not sustainable. Specking over live action or video games will never equate to a comic book holding intrinsic value that will hold long term. In 20 years, the nostalgia will not be in Jeff the Shark's comic, which is the spec book that's popping because of this game right now. The nostalgia will not be in Jeff the Shark's comic, but in the video game itself. That's what the kids that are going to be in their 30s and 40s 20 years from now are going to be nostalgic about. It wasn't them going to the LCS and picking up a comic book off the shelf and feeling it and smelling it and seeing these characters pop off the pages. It's going to be the visuals and the sounds and all the cadences of the video game that they used to play 20 years ago when they were 10, 12, 14 years old. Yep. I love, and I'm telling Swag this, I love that you brought up the homage variant topic at the end, because it goes to show that the only thing outside of variants just in themselves, the nostalgia is the only thing keeping floppy comics alive, as it is a slow withering nostalgia that will soon become a whisper in the wind, meaning when we all die out. The modern floppy comic is no longer an investment, nor is it a commodity to be consumed for its original intent and purpose anymore. And that's just the hard truth. And like Swag has said in the past, the hobby we knew and loved is gone, but that's okay. Folks, that's my video for today. I would love to hear all of your guys' thoughts in the comments below, what you think on this new video game. And if you think that any of these characters that are in this video game are going to allow some type of spec market to hold even semi-long-term value for these books before they crash back down. And what you think about the idea of using video games to bring people back into comic books. Now, again, like I said, I think it's a great idea, but is it going to really be something that holds? And even if it is something that holds, that brings people back into reading comic books to some type of extent, I don't see it at all being something that's going to allow for any type of long-term intrinsic value, monetary or nostalgic value, to these modern comic books for these younger generations. It's just done. We're beyond it, guys. That's the reality of it. It's changed, and it ain't going back. Thank you all so much for watching. Again, please check the link. Click the link to Swag's video. You gotta watch it. I really hope all of you watched it before finishing this video. And if you haven't, go watch it now and then come back and leave your thoughts. And make sure you leave your thoughts on Swag's video as well. Take care, and until next time.